Ma'am, you spoke of the industrialization of Tamil Nadu, a state which used to be at the forefront of attracting investment is now losing out to rivals like Maharashtra, Gujarat, to some extent Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. What is your party's roadmap for industrialization? Where do you think previous governments have fallen short? If you had an opportunity this time along with the AIADMK to form a government in Tamil Nadu, how would you go about the task of industrializing this state which is already more industrialized than the national average?
Yes, Tamil Nadu has always had this culture of being driven towards and driven by entrepreneurs. It has a great culture of wanting to do their own business and also becoming industry leaders, small, big, medium and so on. In between, of course, there has been a bit of a less of speed, if I may say so. I can even point a few reasons for it. Probably it was the illness of former Chief Minister Madam Jayalalitha, and during that time there was a bit of a less of a direction and leadership, but which has been probably more than enough made up in the last 1 or 1.5 years. Now there is a lot of momentum for industry back again in Tamil Nadu, and I am very happy for that. That momentum should not be lost. So already the laying of the defense corridor, bringing in more investment, for instance, navally, that thermal unit which used to depend on lignite. Today, Prime Minister Modi has given 1,000 megawatt additional capacity to be brought in, and also to use that space for solar energy. So that is one thing. Second, we have also stretched a lot of corridors, and also the Salem, Chennai, Bengaluru, Chennai, the corridors and the roads which are being, national highways which are being built. I think all this will lay a lot of emphasis, and also the point that many of the units under defense acquisition, where there is a policy drive for procuring many of the India manufactured under Atmanirbhar Bharat, India manufactured components for defense are all majorly being produced in that belt between Hosur, Coimbatore, Tiruchi and Chennai. Now all of them will be honestly benefiting from that defense procurement policy, which I am happy is actually actively being promoted. So there is enough and more reason to understand why Tamil Nadu's industry. So Rahul, your question as to whether we have a plan, we have shown the plan and we will continue to work on the plan even as we go looking forward.
Ma'am, how do you respond to the criticism that it is the central government and the BJP that has been pulling the strings behind the scenes in the local politics of Tamil Nadu? Because that's something that the locals here have a lot of opposition to. This was said, for example, in the case of Sasikala stepping away, not being actively present in this election. There is this sense that the DMK tries to convey that behind the scenes, it is the Bharatiya Janata Party that has turned the OPS EPS combine into an extension of their party, and they are getting them to dance to the BJP's tunes. How do you respond to this perception?
It's very amusing, Rahul. A state party which has been elected to power, of course, unfortunately lost its prime leader, and then the party's other leaders have taken up the party and they are running the government. A party which is DMK, which was completely bounded by the UPA's coalition dharma, worked only to improve its own through the 2G and very many other scams, and they did not bother about the state. Now they have the cheek, if I may use that word, to say no, BJP is running. Is Tamil Nadu getting its due or not? Is Tamil Nadu's industry being attended to or not? Is Tamil Nadu's roads, national highways, ports being built or not? Are Tamil Nadu's industries getting the attention under the PLI or not? Are more industries being sent and also being received in Tamil Nadu or not? Do you want to talk about these? Or are you interested in only metaphorically saying, oh, this one is being guided by them, there is a puppet here? What a shame to talk about an elected government in this language. Were they a puppet in the UPA dispensation between 2006 and 11, when there was outrageous lawlessness, Gunda Raj, when there's absolutely violence everywhere, power cuts for 12 hours? Were they the puppets doing what the UPA wanted, or did they do it themselves? Either way, that phase of DMK rule in Tamil Nadu is nothing to crow about. So, if you think if all these benefits which are happening in Tamil Nadu now is happening because the BJP is pulling the strings, is it happen? I don't say we are pulling the strings, but look at what public good is happening with that government there. Whereas in your period, it was lawlessness. You assume you were very independent of the UPA government in Delhi. What did you achieve by even being independent, except for spreading corruption? So these kind of a lame, dramatic, picturization is only to cover up their total failure.